Does the Constitution hold a divine power to revive democracy? Welcome, everybody. I have a phenomenal guest here today, my good friend Justin Speller, to talk about this amazing topic. Welcome, Justin. Thanks for being here.
Hi, everybody. Good to be here. I'm excited for the show.
That this topic was something that kind of came up organically for the two of us. By the way, I'm Devon Doer. I'm, if you don't know me, we are going to be discussing this energy here. But originally, we were going to go live next week for the full moon, and we realized that the energy has been so intense lately that we really needed to be live with the collective today, talking about ways to ground through this energy. And that's when Justin brought up this great topic. So, Justin, do you want to tell everybody kind of what your thoughts were? That would be a great discussion today to get started.
Yeah, so I I think a lot of people have been in a huge amount of fear about the election on both sides. And really, I think the core of it is that there are threats. There's fear that there are these threats to our democracy, right? To the free right to vote. And I think both sides are feeling it for different reasons. And I was certainly in that space for a while at a certain point, and some information started to come through that gave me a lot of security and just helped me feel better and helped me not worry as much. So, I was sharing some of that with you earlier, and I thought could be a cool thing to talk about.
I think that's really valuable, and I definitely think that's something we've all experienced, and it can be really easy to get pulled into the narrative of the headlines, right? That, oh gosh, these votes aren't getting counted, and oh, what's going to happen if one candidate or the other wins? And so our goal isn't here
Mhm.
to talk about candidates or who you should vote for by any means. This is not meant to be political. It's meant to be a discussion of how we don't give our power away to a lot of the collective fear out there and having that trust in the divine power behind it all, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Wonderful. Um, hey, everybody in the chat there. So great to see you. We'd love to hear where you're tuning in from and how this election energy is treating you. Hey, Noelle. Hey, P Bone Cutter. Hello, Danielle. Cecilian.
Hey, everybody.
It's great to have the live chat here. A lot of times we're doing this separately. We've
It
done it
is.
different ways over the years if you've seen us together on here. But this is going to be a fun energy to tune in with you. And Justin has a real treat for us at the end. Please make sure to stay tuned. He's going to guide us through a meditation. And this meditation is going to be designed where you can come back as many times as you need to throughout the next year, 3 years, 5 years, to really ground back in with the energy of the divine power that we're discussing here today. So, whatever the outcome of is today, this will be beneficial. And I'll definitely be sharing some angel messages as we go along. Hey, Angie. Hey, Barbara. We
Yep.
love seeing
It's
you
going to
all
be a
here.
very special meditation. It's one I've never done before. So it'll be a first time. And I think it's going to be a real treat. So
Oh,
if you
I'm
want to
looking
find out
forward to
what's
it.
going to be, you'll have to stay tuned.
Yes, please do. And if you haven't seen Justin and I together before on my channel or his, we're longtime friends and colleagues from, let's see, I think we met sometime in early 2020. It was definitely before the shutdown. I remember that. And
Yes, I'm almost positive it was before COVID.
it was, and we're both trained in emotional freedom technique, tapping, and I was looking for somebody else professionally trained that could guide me through the tapping, kind of like, like Justin's the one that told me my one of my favorite quotes by Wayne Dwyer: "When you're inside the jar, it's hard to read the label on the outside."
That is an
I
amazing
love
quote.
that
Yeah,
you
I love
shared that with
that.
me.
Yeah.
I use it all the time. And
Yeah.
then, and so I thought, well, the same thing actually goes for tapping, having somebody else guide you through it. It can be very intuitive, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think it's true with tapping. I think it's true with honestly trying to work on yourself in any capacity.
Right.
I think it's harder to receive intuitive information about your own stuff. It's harder to do healing on your own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think having a guide, having someone on the outside who can kind of have a less biased view of your issues can be very helpful.
Absolutely. And do you want to tell everybody just briefly what your work is and what you do in case they haven't seen you before?
Yeah, sure. I work as an energy healer. I work as a professional intuitive energy healer, and I've been working in this field for about 10 years or so. Again, I started out with tapping, doing EFT. That led me into opening up some of my intuitive faculties, which I utilize in every session now. So I can see energy pretty clearly when I work with people. And I hear communications from guides and angels and helpers and all types of beings who can be very helpful and useful in a healing session. And so yeah, I do hands-on healing. I do virtual healing. But it's my full-time profession. That's all I do, just healing sessions all day, and I love it. It's my passion, and I couldn't be happier and feel more blessed to be able to do this. So I'm just very grateful.
Yes, and I can attest. I've worked with Justin many times to help heal things. I don't know. Do you still have it on your channel where we worked through healing through the onion issue after COVID?
Right. Yeah. I still have that video. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. The COVID induced onion hypersensitivity. Yeah.
Yes, it was such a weird thing. I had tried pretty much everything. You can find more about Justin on tapintothelight.com, his website at tapintothelight.com. I also have it linked below
Yep.
if you want to get a session with him. But we did some deep healing on what happened. I've always loved onions, but when I had COVID in 2021, it totally changed everything for me, and I literally couldn't even be in the same building. I mean, I could be several rooms away from a banquet hall that had red onions in it, and it smelled like death to me. It was absolutely horrible. I couldn't taste it, I couldn't smell it. It was horrible. And through energy healing with Justin, not only we completely get rid of it and heal it, I identified the cause of it so I could also heal other just deeper inner fears and wounds, past life stuff, even probably. And I love onions and get to enjoy them raw again. Much
I'm
to,
so glad
even
because
if it makes
onions
my
are
breath
so
smell
delicious.
bad and for other people around me, but
Yeah. Onions are so delicious, though. So I'm so glad. I can't
and
imagine
so
how
good for
brutal that
you. I
must have
say they
been.
are, at least. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, it's a funny side story there, but also a really cool validation of how there's always other ways for us to approach things. And I had even gone to the ENT and done the scoping and talked to my regular doctor and done a bunch of other things. So it came down to the deep inner healing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. So glad we were able to do that session and you're able to benefit from it.
Well, thank you again so much. It was wonderful. So I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts about this. How did this become a topic for you to, I know you said you used to worry about it a lot, but how did you get interested in discussing this?
Yeah. Well, as I said, I just was having a lot of fear. There's so many headlines again on both sides that there are these threats to democracy. There are these threats to the election, and which never seemed to be a thing in our country
Mm-hmm.
before
Mm-hmm.
until more recently. And so I used to worry about it. It used to cause me a lot of fear. I'm like, oh my god, like what if is our democracy going to be taken over by tyranny? Are we going to lose like this amazing right that we have? It's the U.S. is so amazing, and I feel so fortunate to live here. So it's just very scary. And one day I started to receive some kind of intuitive downloads that helped me calm down. And essentially, what I started to hear and receive was that the energy of the Constitution, like the founding energy of this country, because everything has an energetic basis,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everything, whatever it is, including government. The founding energy of our government was divinely inspired and divinely created, and there were so many very special, wonderful, amazing moments in that founding story where everything just came together in the perfect way to create this beautiful blueprint for our country. Now, obviously, I'm not saying it was perfect. It clearly there are issues with rights for women, rights for people, minorities. But I think at the time where humanity was, it was the best that humanity would allow as a whole in terms of a step forward in evolution and growth. So, it's such a beautiful document, and it has an incredibly enormous power. It's a very, very, very powerful energetic foundation that our country's built on. And when you have a really powerful energy, it magnetizes, it attracts what it needs to continue to grow and evolve. So, and at least from my understanding, the founding energy attracted everything we needed to win the Revolutionary War. You know, it attracted all the resources, all the help we needed to win the Civil War, right, to hold the
Mm-hmm.
country together. And
Mm-hmm.
I think even now, this amazing energy is attracting all the resources needed to continue to for us to have our free democracy and the free right to vote for every man and woman. So I started to receive that information in that vein, and it really helped me have a sigh of relief, and not feel like the energy swirling right now and the powers that be and the circumstances that we're facing could somehow hijack our democracy successfully. And again, who knows, right? But at least hearing this, receiving this, thinking about it helped me feel better and a lot more calm about the situation that we find ourselves in.
Well, I really resonate with that. And as you were speaking, I was getting all kinds of angel bumps up and down. And, I was going to ask you, so would you say that it was almost like it was a spiritual blueprint for democracy and freedom? Is that something that resonates with you of a way to speak about it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Completely. Definitely. I love that terminology. Yeah.
Because like you said, we did have to evolve for the things that we needed to learn and grow as a country, but it is really a wonderful, beautiful visual to think about the people that were there at the right time, the things that happened in divine timing to allow
Mhm.
this to happen. If you truly trust in the nature of the universe and how things flow and in synchronicity, you can't deny the way that that all happened, and in a
Yeah.
very inspirational way. And if you follow astrology at all, we are in a time that is very similar, astrologically speaking, where the planets are and the energy to when we started the American Revolution. So, not to bring fear in that there's going to be some kind of revolution, but it's the reminder of the spirit of that, where people were willing to be disloyal to their home country and willing to choose sides for freedom. What a powerful energy that is in there. And I meant to ask you this before the show, so I wouldn't put you on the spot, but do you have that quote handy that you put in the email to me about showing somebody where freedom is needed? If not, then while you're speaking, I'll pull it up. But do you remember what
Um,
you wrote in the email?
so was it I don't remember exactly what you're referring to. Was it like something I put in quotes, or was it just something I
You were
wrote?
quoting somebody about how humans will be shown where
Oh
freedom
yeah,
is needed.
That
Okay.
quote I do have. Yeah, it's one of my favorite spiritual teachers, life coaches. He calls himself the mind architect. Peter Crone. He's this amazing guy, and his quote is that life will present you with people and circumstances to reveal where you're not free.
Ugh, that is just angel bumps again, because
Yeah.
it's one of the big things that angels are always talking about is the illusion of being trapped in a situation. And a lot of
Mhm.
times, like you said, people and events will occur to show us, oh, you're not trapped. Because if it gets bad enough, you're going to do something about it. If you really feel your rights are being trampled over, if you really feel you're not being heard, people's, I believe, human nature is to say that's not right, you know. And so I love what you said about it kind of revealing it. It's mirroring it back to us when we see things like this, and then going back to that initial intention behind the US Constitution and the divine energy put into it. It really is. It really does bring the angel bumps, and I feel the gratitude wash over me, that we're here to witness it today and be able to say we still uphold that. I think, and I don't know. I just think it's there's probably a lot smaller group of people who actually believe that things could really disrupt as badly as the people who, I think, if you were to go back to the old fashioned version of politics and just walk up to somebody on the street and ask them about freedom and democracy, most people agreed. You might not agree with a certain politician, but you had kind of that underlying, like you said, foundation, that blueprint that created this country that everybody ultimately agreed with, because you leave the sound
Yeah.
bites out of it, leave the political leanings out of it, and just go to your core, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, right? The core, the freedom from tyranny, freedom from oppression, right? Liberty
Yes.
for all. Just those core principles that this amazing country was founded upon. It's such a power. Even the words, even those like beautiful words, have such a powerful energy, and they're woven into the Constitution in so many ways that it the whole thing just has such an incredibly beautiful energy that I honestly, I was sort of aware of, just knowing that, learning about it in school, but I never really tuned into it directly before and kind of just felt the resonance of it. And it's amazing. It's really, really cool. So it's certainly, I have enormous faith that our country is going to hold strong, and that our democracy is going to hold strong, and our freedoms are going to hold strong, and that we're going to be just fine. Whatever happens, whoever wins, like, we're going to be just fine.
Absolutely. And creating unity in that mindset is one of the big reasons we wanted to come on today and talk to you all about it and give you something to go back to with the meditation we're going to be doing at the end, to really ground in with that information again. And remember, ultimately, what the angels are guiding us to do, what the divine is guiding us to do, the universe, whatever you choose to call it, is to connect, be together as one, unity, right? Unity. And the angels are always reminding us to go higher with everything. So like you said, freedom for all, it's so simple, the thing that is the highest thing. Wouldn't you say it that way? I mean, I know you talk
It
about
is, yeah.
unity as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, I think it is so simple. I think I really, I actually didn't know the thing you mentioned about how the astrology, when the Constitution and the country was founded, is kind of circling back.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's really cool. And to me, what I read into that is that there's an up leveling going on right now, and we're creating the next highest and best version of our country that we've ever had. And I think on the individual level, it's similar to the macro level, where to do that, you have to figure out what's been hiding inside. Where's the dense energy? Where's the negativity? Where's the stuff that kind of needs to get purged, needs to come to the surface to be released? And I do think that a lot of that's been happening recently through social media. And there's just been this massive surge of anger, fear, hate,
Yes.
negativity to
Mm-hmm.
the surface. And it can definitely seem like we're moving in the wrong direction sometimes. But I think ultimately, to take the step forward means looking at what's been hidden, because the stuff has been, it's not like the stuff just got created. The stuff has been there. It's just
It
been under the
has.
surface. It's just been, talked about behind closed doors. It hasn't been out in the open to the
Right.
same extent. So I think it's an opportunity to really create an even better country than we had.
I 100% agree. And we do have to look at it from that perspective. What was the initial intention of this country and creating this democracy? And like you said, stuff's coming to the surface that, ooh, that's not quite working anymore. We need to shift that, whatever. But it doesn't mean that the original intention was not valid and beautiful and divine. And actually, the image they were showing me, and I'm going to date myself here, is the original intention of the internet and American Online, of AOL, was the freedom in sharing information, right? But
Yeah.
does anybody want to sit down and dial up on their internet and use AOL to go chat with somebody today? No, nobody wants to do
I
that.
know.
Please tell me nobody. Maybe you just
It
like
is
being
it is
retro.
nostalgic though.
Yeah.
Hearing like the sign of all the sounds, it is very
Yes.
nostalgic for me, like the chat rooms and stuff for
It's
sure.
nostalgic in some ways, but if we really got to get our work done, if we really want to live
I
stream
know.
with you guys today, I want the latest version of the technology, right? So I think that's a lot what you were pulling in too, was just remember there's always evolutions of everything to keep it functioning efficiently. But as long as you're sticking with those core values, and I feel like the divine blueprint we were offered, I mean, it's hard not to imagine that there was true channeling happening with those our forefathers coming together, and even in the arguments that they may have had over things and the way things were getting done, still knowing that unity, ooh, I just got so many angel bumps, was the only way that we were going to achieve this new way of living and treating all humans as equal. So, it really is, it's an evolution for sure. There's things that we're all facing constantly, but it's because we're always evolving. So we just wanted to have that discussion with you guys before we kind of discussed the energy and gave you some tools, because it's something you can come back to no matter what you're seeing on the headlines, next year or 5 years from now at the next campaign, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Was there
Yeah,
anything
because
else you wanted to add to that before moved into some guidance from the angels and the meditation?
um, yeah, I think I like what you said, that the founding principles and these divine kind of ideals really carry us forward. And listen, like, life is uncertainty. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what's going to happen. I don't know anyone knows what's going to happen. There's all these models and predictions and stuff, but who knows?
Right.
And but when you're rooted in the principles, and I think our country is rooted very strongly in its principles, but even on an individual level, when you really root into your principles, it helps you have an anchor for whatever comes your way, whatever circumstances you face, whatever comes up, whatever trials, tribulations, you have an anchor that helps secure you so you can hold your center and continue to be yourself and express how you want to express, and follow your own morals and your own ideals. And
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's a beautiful, I think the way that our country was founded is such like a beautiful example for all of us individually.
I completely agree. And kind of what you're referring to reminds me of my dad used to discuss it as like your moral compass, like guiding you wherever you're going. And I think of that a lot with the work you and I do, Justin. It wasn't that long ago that it would have been very taboo for you and I to be online discussing the energy and energy healing and talking with the
Yes,
angels and our guides.
so true.
So, another example of an evolution through the sharing of information. And to validate what you were saying too about the base energy still being there, but it just innovating, is even these discussions like this, or discussions with political candidates. When was there ever a time where there was a I've been people have been sending me a lot of the Joe Rogan podcasts lately, where he's sitting down with people for 3 hours at a time, like just
Yeah,
having a conversation. That's never been a part of
yeah,
politics, right?
yeah. I love it though. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to just like you're sitting in the living room having a true chat again, one on one, human to human. We probably have some very similar beliefs, even if we're totally different on the spectrum politically. So I like that idea too, the idea that all ships rise with the tide, really. But you just have to hold space for that. You have to hold space that it will happen, and not allow a lot of the stuff you're seeing out there to affect your energy to the point that it's painful, it's debilitating, or it's blocking you. And then of course that is a big part of why we are encouraged towards unity by the angels, is because when we all set that intention within to raise our vibration, we're automatically helping our neighbors and helping those across the world. Because that's a big question I get from clients. It's like, what am I supposed to do about these horrible headlines that I see and I can't do anything about it, right? What do you say to clients when they ask you about that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think often what I advise is to bless whatever it is that you're seeing. And now that can be a confusing word. So I'll just give my definition. When you bless something, you're fully acknowledging, accepting, honoring, and loving. it. And when you truly bless something from the heart, because for it to kind of work, it you have to mean it. You can't just say it, but you have to really mean the blessing. But it when you bless something, it surrounds whatever that is with the brightest white light in creation. And it is incredibly, incredibly helpful to the whole. As you were talking about unity before, I was thinking about that. We're all one, so it's all really just one particle moving really, really quickly. And when you bless something, you're helping all of it. You're helping the whole become more harmonious, more loving, more wonderful, more joyful. So it's not always easy to do, especially with, you know, people or circumstances that are very challenging, but you can always do it. And so that's often what I recommend, is just to bless whatever it is. And I think you'll find peace in your heart, in addition to helping in whatever way the energy can.
That is, I completely agree. And, there's so many ways to visualize it. So I would also encourage you to try out different methods of blessing
Totally.
something and visualizing it and getting into that state of we are all one, and trusting that you can energetically affect somebody on the other side of the world in a positive way by sending love. So
Yeah,
um,
totally.
well, I think what would help here before we get to the bonus meditation at the end that Justin's going to lead us through is to kind of go through some of the energy the angels showed me. I connected with the angels before we came on, and I wanted to get some feedback from Justin on this because one of the first things they were talking about, because they always acknowledge what's going on, is today is a historical day, of course. Every big election is, but also this one in particular, just because of where again the planets align from during the war, the American Revolution, and so the angels are they're witnessing from that 30,000 foot perspective that whatever political side you are on, this is a tower moment, so to speak. It's a life experience. It's a shifting of the very foundation of our country, but in a way that is allowing that divine power to come up. That's why I thought it was so beautiful what Justin was talking about. Is it's still in there in the blueprint. So even if you're having to go all the way back down to the foundation of something to rebuild it, you've got that divine blueprint. So where does that hit you, and what do you get off of the idea that this is a life experience for every one of us, no matter what side you lean politically?
Yeah, I mean, I think that at least the place that I've been, and there's certainly been stress, there's certainly been fear, but it's also kind of a really fun moment. And I think I try to appreciate just the fun of having the ability to really, in like such a chaotic mix of energies, because the energy is crazy. Like I felt it swirling all day and
Mm.
yesterday, and I was so forgetful yesterday. Like I did absent-minded things that I never do, that I've never done. I was just like, I put shampoo in my hair, I forgot, put the towel on, like why is my hair all sticky? Like literally that, like all day long, just doing
Yeah.
crazy stuff because the
Yeah.
energy was just swirling like so wildly. But it's fun to be able to be in this crucible, in this container, I think, and get to see how it all unfolds, and get to co-create it. We're all co-creating it together, whatever you choose, whatever party, whatever candidate. Like we're co-creating something beautiful, and we're all trying to improve and make our country better. So I think it's just fun to be able to participate in that directly.
Yes.
I went to vote this morning, and I loved it. I was like smiling at everybody and shaking people's hands and telling them how much I appreciated their service. And I mean it. I love voting. I love that we get to do this, because I think for maybe the vast majority of known human history wasn't a thing. So
Right.
it's pretty new. It's pretty, recent in the grand scope of things. So it's awesome. It's so awesome to be able to get to do this.
I completely agree with you. There is that divine blueprint energy you're talking about is at a voting poll. It really is. You've got your volunteers that are helping uphold everything, and where I vote,
Definitely.
I tend to see people from the community that I don't see on a regular basis. I know them, but we're all living our busy lives, and it's just that reminder, like, oh, we're all in this together. No matter what side you lean on. And like you said, what an opportunity and what a luxury to be able to go joyfully vote and have a say, is definitely the energy I feel there. And one of the things the angels were talking about too is how recently we've all been inundated with fear over resources. Maybe you're the stock market, maybe are we going to have a power grid issue, maybe are we going to have supply chain issues. And they actually wanted to bring up that for all of you watching here now or later, the things that you did to ensure that you didn't fall into that too long, they applaud you. Whatever that was for you for that, maybe you went out and did get a little bit of backup supplies so you could sleep better, or maybe you just turned it off and said, I'm not buying it. Whatever it is that you did, the angels are really applauding you, and to remember to keep doing that, because that's really what we're talking about here, right, Justin, with this energy, holding space for that. I think is really important to not let that pull you back in either, no matter what outcome there is. Do you have anything to add to that?
Absolutely. I mean, I agree with it completely. I think it was beautifully stated. And I like what you said about the foundational energy of the country coming up and really being on display when you go to vote. It's, to me, it's incredible how many people volunteer to count votes, to help people vote, to help the early voting, just to help voting in general, and people just doing this beautiful civic duty. I think, again, it's the energy, the foundational energy of the country calling us, into these roles. And I just think it's amazing to see, and I have enormous faith in it.
I do too. And, that was another thing the angels were talking about with the actual voting process. Whatever the result is, again, the angels are applauding you for that victory of speaking up for yourself. They want you to see it as, it doesn't, in the end, in the big grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter whether it was your candidate who voted or not. If you are holding that energy of it will all work out in the highest interest of all, and I am victorious in that I participated, as you said, Justin. So the real personal power you can take away from this is that using organization and logic to move through this energy it's going to allow you to really step out of whatever might come at you. But based that, even if it's your candidate that wins, you might still have a lot of people just really in your face about things, even if they're on the same side, because it's sometimes people just get so excitable about things like this that the energy itself is destructive, even if they're saying, oh, we're so happy, right? It can be overpowering.
Yeah, it can be. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's going to be real valuable that to have this meditation to come back to as many times as you need. I would definitely maybe encourage doing it before bed too, so that you're going to bed in that state, because we're really going to feel the collective tonight. And I've talked about this on recent videos that the veil's very thin, but also all this energy in general is very chaotic. It's very quick to anger, and passive aggressive. We may also have that. I know a lot of families who are divided politically, and on the surface level, it's like, I respect your right to choose, but then there's like passive aggressive things. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, have you seen that too in clients coming
Yeah.
to you just needing
Yeah.
grounding? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so much contentious energy out there right now, and distrust of each other, of people on different sides. And yeah, it's so brutal when it's within the family or within close friendships. And, you know, I think that there's, the egoic parts of us that are always looking for security and safety. that want to feel like we're similar to those around us and we want them to be similar to us. And, it can be very scary to see such a profound difference, So, yeah, I've seen it. I've heard about it. It's a lot. I think it's a lot for all of us at the moment.
Right. So I don't feel alone if you're in that situation there, just trust that the angels see it as all part of the human process of what we came here to learn. And trying to go back to that, like I said, logical approach to this is going to help with any disruptive energies that may come through. And then, of course, the guidance is to really nurture yourself. Anytime you need to just go spend that extra quiet time alone, take a break, turn off the TV, get away from the electronics. All of that's going to be helpful, but do more of that than usual over these next few weeks because this energy is going to take a while to settle.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. My guides kept telling me to give myself grace because again, I was doing stupid, crazy stuff all day yesterday, and I was trying not to judge myself and get down on myself about it. But sometimes it's tough. I'm used to functioning at like a basic level, and in some ways, I really wasn't yesterday. So I know that this energy could be swirling for a few days at least, if not longer. So yeah, give yourself extra grace if you can. Be extra kind to yourself. Know that you might forget things, or you might, have challenges that didn't present themselves before with stuff you can usually do pretty easily. And it's okay. There's just massive changing, massive shifting happening at the moment. So just give yourself that extra grace.
I love that. I love that you just said it's okay. I mean, we can just tell ourselves that. That can be our pocket affirmation. It's okay.
Yeah.
um, you know, it's funny. I didn't think about it. A lot of times, I tend to distract myself from that energy by getting really busy at work, like busy work. And then, like you said, things get overlooked. But this weekend, I had a lot of tasks on my schedule to get done, and I actually totally spaced out. I was more of a couch potato than I think I've been in the last 5 years. Just relaxing. I put on a fun show about the past. It had nothing to do with politics or anything, and I just kind of let myself be part of that energy. So I definitely agree with you. Anything you can do to nurture yourself, give yourself grace, say that's okay, and just try to remember to go back to that space of there's a divine blueprint here. There's protected energy. Trust that you're protected. Trust that we have this divine help, and that's going to help everybody.
Absolutely. Well said.
Thank you. Well, I think the main thing that the angels wanted to leave us with before we go into your amazing meditation is to remember that any relationships that you have recently felt were challenging or just overly emotional, that they can heal. Trust that they can heal. If that's something that you want, there is an opportunity for healing, but it is a little bit of allowing it, just allowing it. And that's where the angels talk a lot about divine flow and letting things happen the way they want. And they're also talking about what you said, Justin, about things coming to the surface. So these things are coming to the surface in relationships in your life for the healing, so they don't become something that is completely debilitating or ultimately ends the relationship. So any relationship that came to mind for you just now, hearing that guidance, have that intention that if your heart wants that to heal, then allow these things to come to the surface, and let's discuss them in a compassionate way. Let's not bury them and assume they're not, because they're not, they will eventually come out. It's just how did they come out? And so again, like I said, any relationships that came to mind, because we're talking about politics, it could be a friend that disagrees with you or a family member, but it could also be an intimate relationship where just because of this energy you guys haven't been seeing eye to eye, and some other things have come up. So any final comment from you about that, Justin? Just, I didn't know if that brought anything else up for you hearing that, because that was kind of a interesting way they wanted to end that conversation.
Yeah.
Interesting message.
I No comment for me on that. I think that I'm getting my energy is getting pulled into the prep for the meditation.
Oh, gotcha.
So, but
Well,
yeah,
good.
I totally agree. And
Yes, well, definitely. I feel like whoever that resonated with, you might want to set an intention around that for these next few weeks with this energy to just have patience and trust that anything that's coming up is for the healing there. And we can definitely connect with the energy here now and just have that kind of, like a protection there around what our intentions are as we go into this meditation. Does that sound good to get started with that, Justin?
yeah, that sounds great.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
take your time guiding us through this. And I'm just honored to be part of this. So if you'd like to get started, lead the way.
Yeah. All right. So let's all close our eyes and just take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. This just helps center you, it helps ground you, bring you more into the present. One more nice big deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. So, the founding energy of the country, of the Constitution of the United States, is calling to us now for support, for help, for assistance, and guaranteeing the free right to vote for all citizens. Now, there's a lot of energy swirling. There's a lot of negative energy swirling, and there's energies that are non beneficial, that are trying to disrupt the natural voting process that we all go through, that are trying to disrupt the that beautiful free will choice that we all have the right to make. And we're going to work on bringing some loving, healing, blessing, helping energy to this whole situation because we're all one and we all just want the best for the country. So, what I would like everyone to do is, as best you can, visualize a map of the United States in front of you. And it can look whatever color you would like, just a general map. It doesn't have to be a perfect shape. You don't have to see all the individual states perfectly, but just have a general map in front of you. And some people have trouble visualizing, and that's okay. Try sensing or feeling it if you're having trouble visualizing it. And as you're looking at this map, ask the map to show you areas that could use your support energetically. They may light up at spots or as kind of like staticky energy, or it could be like a sludgy, slimy energy that you see. Again, it's just a visual representation of areas of the country that could really use some help. And kind of start to narrow in, start to focus in on one area that you're being shown. What you're doing is you're tuning in to the energetics of that area, specifically the energetics that could use some help. So let yourself just slowly and softly attune. Okay, now that we're all locked in to a particular area, start to visualize a cleaning, a cleansing of whatever the energetics that you are perceiving were. You can visualize it in any way that works for you. You can visualize brooms coming in and sweeping it up. You can visualize angels coming in and working with it and healing it. You can visualize divine light coming directly down and infusing it. You can visualize anything at all that you would like to, that feels right for you. As we're just helping the energetics. Stay focused on your area and see it start to clear, start to resolve, start to reconcile. See the energy might change color, it might change shape, it might change texture, but perceive the improvement. And once it feels like it's complete, bless it. Bless it from your heart. Bless that area from your heart. And as you bless it, it will be surrounded with the brightest white light in creation. A very loving, wonderful, compassionate light. And now slowly start to move back. So you start to see the map in a larger view again. Kind of pull back from that narrowed focus that you had. Start to see the entire United States again. And start to reattune to the whole of the United States. All you have to do is intend it, intend to reattune, and you will experience it. And as you reattune, let's go through the same process of looking at the map and seeing what is revealed, what area is revealed to you next that could use some help, that could use some support, that could use some healing. Let that area reveal itself to you, and it might light up or it might signal you in some way. You might just have an inner knowing of this is the area. You might see a black spot, or you might see some sludgy energy there. You might see something that draws your attention. And start to narrow your focus to that specific area. Kind of zoom in a little bit to that area. And begin to clean, to heal, to work with that area in any way that feels right for you. To start to bring support and assistance to the energetics. Just keep focusing on cleaning up the energy, helping it out. And begin to see it changing. Perceive the energy shifting. It could change colors, it could change texture, it could start to kind of dissolve. It could, whatever image you see is okay, but it's a representation, a visual representation of the energies improving, healing, moving into more harmonious state. Okay, and now let's bless the area just like we did before, except for this different new area that we've been working on. Okay, and now begin to pull back again, to zoom out again. So you're seeing the entire United States. And we're going to one more time reattune to the collective, to the entire country. And now let's finish this meditation by blessing the whole. Bless the entire country, all of it together. And now gently move into gratitude. And let's all just feel grateful together for our country and our home, for our freedom and liberty, and our guaranteed right to vote. That beautiful right of self-determination. Okay. Great job, everybody. That brings us to the end of our meditation for today. So you can open your eyes and come back.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Beautiful visualizations there. At one point, I would say about 5 minutes in, I felt all this energy start swirling around my crown chakra. I felt like it was the viewers connecting with us, connecting with the country and the map, and the images were just so vivid. You know, I think I might have been picking up on a lot of everyone's images because it was
Yeah,
like I was watching a movie, and
yeah,
it was really interesting doing the focusing because it kind of reminds me of remote viewing when I've practiced
great.
that. Yeah. So you were
Yeah,
kind of guiding us through a little bit of a remote viewing meditation there, too, to those of you out there who never tried that before. Um,
absolutely.
so
Yeah,
thank you so much. That was just such a treat. I encourage everybody who just went through this meditation with us now, live or later, if you're watching the recording, please grab your journal and write down that you did this meditation today. If you would like to, you could also write down what you saw, any colors that stood out for you. Maybe you do want to write down what part of the map you focused in on. These are all amazing tools for building your book of evidence, right? This is my custom journal available for sale on my website, devondoer.com, but you can use any journal. I just want to get everybody to track the amazing way that we can connect and help raise the vibration in that beautiful, beautiful meditation, Justin. This was something I feel would be very valuable for everybody to come back to. So let's just do one more reminder. How can people connect with you, Justin? What's your website, and how can they book a session with you, and anything else you'd like to share?
sure. Yeah. So my website is tapintothelight.com. You can read more about what I do on there. I do energy healing sessions for individuals and groups, and you can also sign up on my website. I do virtual sessions, and I also have an in person office in Farmington, Connecticut, where I do hands on healing as well. So, yeah, I'm easy to find, and I'd be happy to work with anyone. I've been doing this energy work for a long time, and again, it's my passion. It's what I love to do. I've seen amazing, amazing results because, again, like we all have our own individual blueprints for our physical bodies, for our mental health, and our spiritual health, and it's all mapped out in your energies. So, energy work is a wonderful way to change and shift and relieve pain and symptoms and anything that you've been dealing with. You know, it's all in your energies. So it's a blessing to be able to do the work. So I'm very grateful.
Yes, definitely go check that out. And also, just a quick reminder, if you would please hit that like button and share this meditation and video with anybody. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And feel free to sign up for my free newsletter at devondoer.com to get my ebook, Is It a Sign? I also have a link below for a prayer protection that could also really help with this energy. It's a free download, and also a wallpaper for your phone if you want to carry it around on your phone. I created that. So, lots of stuff, great ways to connect with Justin and I here, all in the comment section below. I love having Justin on my channel. It is such an honor when we get to do this. We try to do it about once a month. It doesn't always work out with our calendars, but thank you so much again, Justin, for being here. This has just been a true honor, and that was a beautiful, beautiful experience.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I always love these and I'm always happy to do more and thank all of you for participating and following along. And let's all create a more beautiful country together.
Absolutely. And remember, take time every day to connect with the angels. Bye, Justin. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Devin.